This is one of the craziest news stories I've seen about the Steam Deck in a while, and that is an early Valve engineering prototype for the original Steam Deck was listed on eBay, and somebody paid $3,000 for it. Let's get into it. Let's talk about Steam Deck, and obviously, let's talk about this crazy prototype listing that was listed on eBay and sold for $3,000. I wish I had one. Let's get into it. But before we do, guys, please hit the like button if you love Steam Deck, if you're hyped up for a new Steam Deck potentially at some point, and if you just love handheld gaming and want to support the channel, it really means a lot if you took the time to click like and subscribe. Check the links down below for some really cool Steam Deck accessories and a bunch of cool stuff down there. I've really worked hard on that list of cool tech stuff, so go check it out if you want to get some cool deals. But without further ado, let's get into the news article from SteamDeckHQ.com. So an early prototype of the Steam Deck was sold on eBay. Before the Steam Deck was released, Valve went through many iterations before getting to the version of the device that we have today. These different versions may not have made the cut, but they helped Valve develop the Steam Deck, and we all know, and the one and only Steam Deck that we all know and love today. Well, most of these older versions are with Valve. It seems that one of them got out and was recently sold on eBay for a whopping $3,000. Now, I would love to have shown you the original listing, because the original listing was actually up as of yesterday, but it's since been taken down. But thankfully, we've got many photos from the listing, so let's take a look at them. So the eBay listing was initially spotted in a post by Reddit user Gary the Meme Machine and was sold for $3,000 yesterday at 9:30 p.m. The seller didn't specify how they got the handheld, but mentioned that it is an early version of the handheld that has no OS installed. I wonder if they'd be able to install SteamOS on it. And circular trackpads. They provided multiple different photos as well, which show the general layout, which is very reminiscent of the current Steam Deck, with slight differences like vent and back button placements and a missing joystick. We'll take a look at the photos in a second, but two of the photos shown also show the seal on the back, which notes that this is a 34th engineering sample of the deck. It also notes that this model isn't for resale. Somebody ignored the memo, which was ignored completely, unfortunately. There's no guarantee that this is a legitimate version of the early Steam Deck. I can almost verify that is, because we've seen trailers and stuff of Valve developers talking about the development of Steam Deck as a hardware device, and I do believe I have seen this unit before. I've even used this in one of my thumbnails a while ago. It doesn't look like it's got analog triggers here, does it? It looks like it's got clicky triggers, so obviously it is a manufacturing sample. I'm so glad they went with proper analog triggers on the Steam Deck. That would have driven me mad. I'm talking about you, Nintendo Switch 2. Some companies don't put analog triggers on their consoles, their handhelds, Nintendo. But obviously you can see here on the back, there is an actual seal here. Let's just see what it says. We know what it says, but let's say it again. Engineering sample 34, not for resale. Whoever sold this. But yeah, it's still cool nonetheless, right? So obviously you got your D-pad there, circular touchpads. Oh, sorry, I forgot to put it back up. Got the D-pad up there, circular touchpads. Let me know in the comments if you would have liked this. This is reminiscent of the original Steam controller. I kind of like that. Obviously, it's got the little, the little chamfer. You call that a chamfer? The little edge leans down there. The Steam button, etc. I like the two-tone color buttons. I like those. I think I maybe wish that they'd stuck with that color scheme. I kind of like it. We've obviously got the thumbsticks. They don't look half as big as the current ones do. Obviously, one's broken off there, so it is an engineering sample. It does look like the same display they've got on this thing. You've got your R4, R5, L4, L5 buttons on the back there. Slightly different placements, straight on the back, the flat edge. Interesting. We've got the USB-C port on the top, volume rocker, power button, headphone jack, so very similar to the current Steam Deck. If I have one thing that I'd like to change on an upcoming Steam Deck, and that is to have two USB-C ports, preferably USB-C 4. That way, potentially, we can get external GPUs connected to this thing if we install Windows or dual boot to Windows. I have Windows installed on my Steam Deck. I have a dual boot solution, thanks to Deck Wizard. Go check him out on YouTube for that tutorial on how to do that. I also upgraded my storage to 2 TB. So if we can get two USB-C ports and have at least one of them be USB-C 4, I would love to slap my 3080 Ti into an eGPU enclosure and just use my Steam Deck as my primary gaming PC. That would be amazing. And there is, underneath the trackpad, and as you can see, is that a rumble motor under there? So they've obviously got the rumble motor attached to the bottom of the trackpad there. Very interesting. Looks very modular. I think iFixit would love this. And if you remember, just a minute ago, I mentioned that I used this prototype in one of my thumbnails, and funnily enough, here's my tweet: prototype Steam Deck revealed. It actually looks better, and I did a video on it. Valve made a different Steam Deck. It looks better. This is the exact same one that's being sold right now. I don't know if this is the same unit per se, but I know this is the same one that I was talking about, and it's obviously featuring the same design. Some people are like, there's no way to be sure if this is a legit prototype for the Steam Deck. I mean, come on, that's a lot of work if someone was to try and fake this, right? This is the same unit that is being sold on eBay for 3,000 smackarories. I would love to have sold if this made its way into my hand. So obviously it was located in Kirkland, Washington, United States, and I believe that's up where Valve have their HQ, right? So clearly somebody who works for Valve got their hands on this thing and, well, came into some money issues and wanted to sell it. Here's a screenshot of the BIOS, or a photo of the BIOS running on this thing, and as you know, it's a portrait display, which kind of sucks. I wished it went with a landscape display, but there you go. But yeah, very cool. And Steam Deck HQ says, they do hope that this person was given permission to sell the handheld since it wasn't meant for resale, but still interesting to see more images of an early prototype in the wild. So there you go. Let me know, going back to my original video, do you think this looks better than the original Steam Deck? Let's just say the color scheme in the circular trackpads. Would you have liked that on the Steam Deck? Maybe could that be an idea going forward for maybe a new Steam Deck? Let me know in the comment section down below. Let me know if you wish. Let me know if you're the one that bought the Steam Deck prototype for $3,000. I'd be very curious to know. There's obviously some big Steam Deck collector out there that literally spent $3,000 on it, so it definitely has some market. But yeah, looking at Valve's own development ebook guide thing, they show you all the prototypes that they've worked on. This was like, I believe, the first Steam Deck prototype, and you can see all the iterations they've went through. And I believe this one that's been sold on eBay is like down here somewhere, right? But there it is, right here. You see it? Let me zoom in a little bit more, if it lets me. There it is. And what's interesting is they originally, it seems like they went for like a two-tone design, and they even went with like a white design at some point, unless that's just like plastic, 3D printed plastic parts. And this could very well be, they maybe even played with detachable Joy-Cons, or maybe that could be the new Steam Deck controller, who knows. But anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comment section, guys. I love you, I appreciate you. I'm Blaze2K. Hit like, subscribe, click the bell icon for more Steam Deck content, handheld gaming content, all that good stuff. Check the links in the video description for some cool Steam Deck deals and really cool tech deals across the board. I'll see you in the next one. I'm Blaze, and have a great Thursday, even better Friday, and have an amazing weekend. Peace out.